Democratic Party Chair Anderson Clayton. Anderson, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
I want to ask you about the response to Border Patrol descending into Charlotte. It's deeply divided down party lines. How can the Trump administration get illegal criminals, like they're saying the worst of the worst, out of the country without the criticism from the Democratic Party?
Which is what they used to do, right? Focus on covert operations and making sure that they're actually focused on getting violent criminals out of this country. What we saw from a CNN report that said what happened in Chicago, out of the 600 or over 600 people that they had arrested, only 2% of those were violent criminals. And right now, what we're seeing is the same thing happening in Charlotte and across places like Asheville and North Carolina, too. They're not just in one city. They're in Sampson County. They're in Buncombe County. They're all over North Carolina trying to attack communities right now instead of doing what you just said, going after the most violent of violent criminals in this country.
Yeah, we know a few people have already been released over the weekend in Charlotte because of that very thing. They were not illegal immigrants. They were Americans. Border Patrol Commander at Large, Gregory Bovino, is touting Operation Charlotte's Web as a huge success. And the Mecklenburg County Republican Party Chair, Kyle Kirby, says the same thing. He says Border Patrol is a welcome sight. Here's what he said.
Our mayor and other civic elected leaders need to take the citizens of Charlotte's safety more seriously, and that would get us out of the federal attention and allow us to do our own work here in the city of Charlotte, and we wouldn't have federal oversight. You may already know that the Fraternal Order of Police has asked for National Guard presence as well as 3 members of Congress. So I'm just thankful at this point that we're only getting border protection and patrol enforcement in Charlotte and not full-on National Guard.
Anderson, I think that's an important point. If the Fraternal Order of Police says we need the help, we need to keep these streets safe, shouldn't that be a cause for concern?
You know, last year, the Fraternal Order of the Police came out with a statistic, right, that said that more police officers have been shot in the line of duty than any other year in this state's history. And when our state legislature found those statistics, right, they said we're going to enact and try to pass SB 50 in our state legislature, which was allowing permitless concealed carry in North Carolina right now. If we wanted to focus on keeping people safe in our streets, we would focus on doing that at a state legislative level where Republicans control every single aspect of our state government right now. We can do this at a state level if Republicans choose to stand up and step up to keep our communities safe.
How does the city of Charlotte get a handle on crime without the help of the federal government, Anderson?
Making sure that we're relying on state and local law enforcement to be able to do it. I'm no disagreement that what's happening in Charlotte right now is a heinous act on behalf of this Trump administration of trying to attack democratic cities. And we've seen that in places like Chicago and Portland. But we also know as a party that people deserve to feel safe in their communities. Our governor has said that over and over and over again, and we want to make sure that people do. But it doesn't look like attacking and arraigning U.S. citizens right now, like you just said earlier, that this administration is currently doing in our cities. It's making people less safe and less secure when they're going to work and when they're going to school right now. And I don't think anybody in our communities was asking for that.
Anderson Clayton, Charlotte is a beautiful city. People flock there every single year. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Let's bring in the North Carolina Republican Party Chair, Jason Simmons. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning.
You heard from Anderson. We know hundreds of protesters are taking to the streets. They're outraged by Border Patrol being in this city, beautiful city of Charlotte. What can Republicans and the Trump administration do to help tame the rhetoric that we're hearing from so many?
Sure. What you've seen is Border Patrol as well as ICE surging into Charlotte as well as other portions of North Carolina in response to the nearly 1,400 detainers that North Carolinians expect to be turned over, but you've had law enforcement in Charlotte and other areas unwilling to work with ICE. And they've been enabled by former Governor Cooper, who vetoed that bill that would have required coordination as well as assistance to ICE and making sure that these illegal criminals that are in our country committing murders and other heinous acts are off our streets and being able to make sure our streets are protected.
Democratic Congresswoman from North Carolina, one of your colleagues, Alma Adams, is criticizing the deployment of Border Patrol into Charlotte. She says they are targeting working citizens. Here's a little bit more of what she said. I'll talk to you on the other side.
We have an immigrant community that contributes annually to our spending power, generating billions of dollars for our county as well, trying to run businesses. And so that's the area that they're targeting. where we have a lot of immigrant businesses and so forth. So I don't support too much of what the president's doing. Let me just say that I think that to intimidate people, to come in and create all the tension that's been created here, I think is unnecessary.
And we have learned 2 people were arrested at a local bakery. An international supermarket is saying half of their staff called out sick because they're simply scared to come out of their homes. What steps are Border Patrol agents taking to make sure they are arresting the worst of the worst, the criminals?
Sure. Well, as indicated, where you have over 1,400 individuals who are on detainers that need to be turned over to ICE and Homeland Security, that's not happening when you have Democrats who are obstructing this. And especially when you see former Governor Cooper as well as current Governor Stein putting illegal immigrants and crime above protecting our citizens across North Carolina. We want to ensure that what President Trump campaigned on, securing our border and making our cities safe, is what you'll see continuing going on into these communities.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.